Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dirt Life. Today, I'm going to be doing a full crash course on sales. I'm going to be talking to you about the 3 stages of the sales call when you're selling lawn care over the phone. And I'm going to give you 3 tips for each and every one of those stages so that you can absolutely master it. Because when people are finding you on Google, they're seeing your advertisement stuff, what do? They call you. And we need to be able to be very persuasive over the phone, be very helpful. We don't need to be sleazy, but we need to know how to go in for the close. So I'm going to cover all of those. I've been doing sales at Yard Dogs for a very long time. I think I've sold probably about 6,000 accounts over the past 9 years. So I've done a lot of these calls and I've made a ton of mistakes, but I have learned some things that are pretty timeless. So let's jump right into things. The very first thing that I want to focus on is going to be getting a hold of the lead. Because we have leads that come in all the time during the day. So we'll have in the evening, you might have a website that has forms where people submit a request to get a quote from you. You'll have people that are doing your instant chat. These getting a hold of the people is so important. When someone calls you, fantastic. And you always need to answer your phone, never miss a call. But when someone submits a form, we need to get a hold of them. And it can be very challenging sometimes. So the number one thing that you can do to increase the rate in which someone answers the phone is called speed to lead. I'm going to be mentioning speed to lead in almost every single sales video we ever talk about here on the channel. But the reason why it's so important is because think about it. Someone's on their phone, they're on their computer. They notice some dandelions in their lawn. They go to they find your website and they submit a form. Well, right now they're in dandelion mode. They're thinking about the grass right here, right now. In 5 minutes, they're going to be thinking about dinner. They're going to get back to work. They're going to be taking care of their kids. People get busy. And don't forget, we are just grass. It's the lawn care industry. So while someone has it at the top of their mind, we need to capitalize on it. So I asked some people, hey, how long does it take you to usually contact your leads? And I'll get anything from, usually within same day, we'll always respond, or within the hour, things like that. In my experience, you have a very, very short window. And when I mean short, I'm talking about 3 minutes. As soon as I call someone, and if I call within 3 minutes, I have them answering the phone usually in the 90s percentile. And if I do it within usually about 10 seconds, I want them to actually, when they answer the phone, say, holy shit, that was fast. That means that you are doing a good job calling people there. But you want them to be surprised by how quickly you call them, because the second it goes over 3 minutes, the answer rate starts to drop significantly. And after an hour goes by, I really struggle to get a hold of people during the same day. So there's good follow-up sequences for that, but that's not the purpose of today's video. Today, we're just focusing on getting a hold of the lead. So one thing will be time. Another thing that we're going to do to get a hold of the lead is use multiple channels. So let's say we call someone and they don't answer the phone. We didn't get them to speed to lead, but that's okay. We have a few other strategies to now get a hold of them. First thing we're going to do is leave a voicemail. Now, your voicemail is going to be brief. It needs to introduce who you are. It's going to tell you about why you are calling and why you should give them reasons to call you back. Now, in the voicemail, you don't want this to go over a minute. You want to keep this to about 30 to 40 seconds, but you also want to let them know that you're also going to text them and you're also going to send them an email, because now I have 3 channels of communication. They can text me, they can email me, but I'm going to sweeten the deal to let them know that, hey, for the quickest response back, please just give me a call. So an example of what a voicemail would sound like would be something like, hey, good afternoon. This is James reaching out here with Yard Dogs. Hey, I just saw that you submitted a form on our website. So sorry that I missed you there, Jordan, but I'm going to shoot you over a text message as well as an email. Feel free to respond to me on either of those. But for the quickest response, just give me a call back. We're at 587-254, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I want to leave a voicemail. And if I do those 3 channels and you call them up quickly, that will drastically increase the rate that someone answers the phone. Because if you never get to talk to somebody, you cannot sell them. It doesn't matter how good you are unless you can actually get them on the phone. So the second stage in most sales calls is going to be setting up this stage of things. So it's the value proposition. What are we talking about? What kind of problems are we trying to solve? So you want to get right to the point, because, and you have to be careful when you're over the phone with people, sometimes they will tell you their whole life story. Sometimes they'll tell you where they grew up, and sometimes they'll just get into nitty gritty details about their dog. But you know what? You need to get to the point here, because if you're growing a lawn care company, you are busy. And when the phones are ringing, you need to make sure these calls are under 8 minutes or less. The second a call goes over 8 minutes, I want you to think red flag, red flag. And what I found is the longer the call goes on, the less likely you're going to be able to close them. It's just something that happens there, because they start to prompt questions, and it usually ends up being somebody that needs to think about it. They need to talk to the missus. Have you ever heard that one before? And the further the call goes on, the more likely that's going to happen. So you want to get right into the problem solving. So answer the phone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for calling Yard Dogs. My name is James. How can I help you out today? Right away, I'm asking, okay, what kind of pain do you have and how can I fix this? And I want them right away to get into the nitty gritty. Hey there, yeah, no, I was looking at my lawn right now and I saw dandelions everywhere. And I thought I'd just give you guys a call. And you go, fantastic. Now, when we do lawn care, what we like to do here in Canada, we have smaller lawns. Our average lawn size actually only about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. So that means that we can use Google Maps to measure all of our lawns. We don't need to do in-person quotes. And I really, really want to encourage you, if you're doing in-person quotes, please stop, because if you're trying to build a volume-based business, you don't have time to do those. We have a fantastic video on our channel that tells you how to measure lawns using Google Maps. Just please search that up afterwards if you're not sure how to do that. But you really want to get right to the chase. What kind of problem am I trying to solve you? And they say what they're going for. Let's say they have their dandelions are the issue. Say, no worries at all. I can definitely help you out here. Can I start with your address, please? Now, another big red flag. If somebody won't give you your address, it's probably not going to work out, because they're going to be the same kind of person that's going to need you to make sure that they're home when you get there. They're going to need to pay with cash or check. They will not give you a credit card, and they'll need to make sure that they're going to check. They're going to watch every single square foot of the lawn as you do it. It usually transpires that way. So, but to get the address, you should gotta be assertive about it. Hey, no worries at all. Can I just get your address, please? They get it to you, get all the information you need. Before you give them a quote, you should have their first name, last name, email, phone number, and their physical address. Because the second you have those things, let's say the sale doesn't go ahead, you have a way to reach out to them to follow up on your proposal. And you have another person in your contact base that you can use and market to in the future. If you don't have those things, if you at least don't have a name and an email, it is extremely hard to build your business. You should always be focusing on building your database of people that are closing right now, but people that you can close later, because sometimes you're not going to be able to close people, and that's okay. But maybe in the future, we could always make a sale there too. So we want to solve their problem right away, get to the root of the issue, and knowing how to measure their lawn size and give them the quote right then and there over the phone helps tremendously with that. Because remember, people are busy. They're hiring lawn care companies because they don't have the time to do it. What we do isn't overly complicated, but people are busy and they want to help increase their quality of life by hiring lawn care. So make sure we give that to them nice and quickly. The third thing is closing. You need to know how to close these leads that come in. I see it so many times where people, they're really good at answering the phone. They're cheerful. They're so good at going into their details of the product, but they don't know how to ask for their sale. And this is where the true salesman really starts to shine, because this is where you really take the person by the hand and lead them towards the sale. So there's a few strategies for this. A big thing that a lot of people don't do is you just got to ask for it. You got to ask the person if they want to go ahead. So many times, some people say, okay, well, no worries. Do you want me to send you a quote? Should I send this to you for proposal? Do you want to think about this? Don't give the person options you don't want them to use. Give them options you want them to say, fantastic, Mrs. Jones. I think that we went over everything we need. Did you want to go ahead with this? Or Mrs. Jones, would you be interested in that St. Bernard program? Or do you think the Golden Retriever makes a little bit more sense? You want to ask questions to which the only two answers are the answer that you want to hear. They have to go out of their way to give you a response that doesn't come first to their head. Now, to close leads, I like to utilize 3 different things. I like to use urgency, I like to use scarcity, and I like to use assumptive-based selling. Let's get into each one of these here. So when we're closing, urgency means that I have a finite amount of time. So you can't think about this quote for fertilizer weed control for the next 5 months. You need to make a decision promptly. And I want to encourage them to make the decision right then and there over the phone. But if they get off the phone with me, I want them to have almost like a ticking bomb there, that tick, 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 tick. The deal's going to be ending soon. So the way that you utilize urgency is to make sure you always have a promotion that's going on. Have something available. Hey, right now, with all of our purchases of our aeration, we are giving away a fall fertilizer, but that offer ends on October 1st. Okay, that means if today was September 15th, that person has 2 weeks to take advantage of this deal before it is over. I'm adding urgency to it there. Another way to use urgency, and my favorite way to use urgency, is to focus on the schedule. When people call in to you, when it's not the preseason, but during the season, they want to get you out there very shortly. But you're a busy guy and you have a busy schedule and you can't just be there the same day. But the sooner they book, the sooner you can get there. Just true. You know, you have your routes that you make, and the sooner someone books, the sooner they're going to pop up in your map. So I always like to start the call by creating the sense that I am extremely busy. And when they're calling me, we don't have a lot of time to talk. We kind of got to get right to the chase. So what that means is that when they ask me how I'm doing, I don't say I'm doing fine. I don't say I'm doing good. I tell them how crazy it's been. So my favorite thing to say is, hey, I'm doing fantastic, although I cannot believe how busy it's been. And that sets the tone for the entire call, because it means they're not going to jump into too many details. And at the end of the call, when I get I need to think about it, or no worries, I'm just going to go talk to the boss, I'm able to say something like, sounds good, John. But like I mentioned, it's been extremely busy here. And looking at the schedule, we only have, here's where scarcity comes in. I only have 10 spots left in the schedule for next week. So scarcity is a unit where urgency is time. Scarcity is a finite amount of availability, like units, let's say. There's only so many spots in our schedule. Our trucks can only do so many jobs a day. So Mr. Jones, no worries at all. I totally understand you want to think about it. But listen, like I mentioned, it is so busy right now, and I'm not 100% sure when we can get there. I do see here on my truck for later this week, I have 10 spots available in the schedule. How about this? I understand you want to think about it, but I'm going to send you an email with all the details that you and I just went over there. And I'm going to put you down for this program for now, just so I can hold your spot in the schedule. If you chat with the missus and you guys decide to go another direction, no worries. But please just pay me the courtesy to let me know so I can take you off. If you do that, about 75 to 80% of the time, they're going to say, okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. And what did I do there? I did the last thing. Assumptive-based selling. What is the easiest thing in human nature to do? Nothing. That's why all these companies do a subscriber mentality. You sign up for Netflix, they know that you're going to be lazy and if you need to cancel, you're probably going to postpone it 2-3 months because you just don't get around to it. Gym memberships capitalize on the fact that only like 20 to 30% of their members actually show up. Isn't that nuts? And people have to call in to cancel. So in this case, I'm telling someone, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to send you a quote and please get back to me, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to put you down for this Pomeranian package that we just talked about, and I need you to call me if you don't want this anymore. It's just that small little switch mentality. But guess what? A lot of the time, they don't call you back, and you help them move forward with this sale. So yes, every now and then, about 25% of the time, they're going to call you back and say, you know what? We went over this and we're not going to go ahead with this. And in that case, we try to negotiate a little bit if we need to on price. But if they're going their other direction, that's completely fine and on good terms, because again, maybe in the future we'll have a relationship there. But if I did the opposite approach and said, listen, no worries, Jake, I'm going to send you over a quote. You can go over it with the missus and you get back to me if you're interested. You will never hear from Jordan again. He might call you 10% of the time, but he gets busy. He goes to work. Shit gets crazy in his life, and you're not going to hear from him. So you need to put him down while you're right there on the phone. So guys, if you really focus on these 3 stages of the sale to really maximize and scope out what this sales call is going to look like for you, you'll find that lead after lead after lead, you're going to get a hold of them. You're going to be able to speak to them promptly, and you're going to figure out how to close them in a very successful rate. So number 1, speed to lead. Get a hold of them nice and quickly. 2, know what you're going to say when you actually get a hold of them. You lead the conversation. Don't let them take control. You are the lawn care professional. You are helping them get to a weed-free and green, lush lawn. And number 3, know how to overcome objections and close the deal. That's all I wanted to go into, guys. Say very basic crash course on lawn care sales there. If you liked what you saw today, please give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up. We want to keep bringing you this awesome information when it comes to lawn care, because it took us about 9 to 10 years to figure out a lot of things that we know right now. I want you to be able to do it in half the time and learn from our mistakes. Thank you so much for staying until the very end of the video. Really appreciate your time and attention, and we will see you in the next one. Let's go.